Hello, Pokemoshpitbeta. This is Necrostevo, and you're watching one of my narrated Wi-Fi battles. This is a match that I had in person against one of my friends, Michael, and this was an RU match, as you can tell by the teams there. And I was actually trying to test out a few matchups of Pokemon for some tournament matches that I have coming up. So let's get started with this match. I lead off with Crustle, and he actually decides to lead off with his Charizard. Of course, when you're in person, there is no team preview, but we had a match previous where he led out with his Crustle and I led out with mine. And that basically led to both of us just getting up all of our entry hazards, which is no good when he has a Charizard. Of course, I kind of expected him to just go straight for the attack, and I opted to not set up my Stealth Rocks and just kill off Charizard, which is fine by me because I got a crit there, but Rock Blast has to hit a minimum of 2 times, so the crit didn't matter. He does go ahead and send out his Crustle right here, which maybe he was hoping that I missed the Rock Blast so that I would go ahead and set up Stealth Rocks. I'd much rather get the kill. But expecting him to just going ahead and starting to set up his entry hazards, I go out into Rock'em. This is a good time for me to get some bulk ups going. This is, of course, a Rest Chesto set with max special defense, or close to it, actually. It's hard to get max on your stats when you're breeding. But now is a good time to get those bulk ups going. He brings in Slowking. I figure no matter what he does, I can get a little bit of damage on him with some paybacks, and then once he brings me down some, rest it all right back off. I figured he might actually have Slack Off as well, but I didn't know if he had Slack Off or not, so the best way to deal with that is just to get some damage to force him to use it. Let's see. I see that the Psychic is a 3-hit KO, even, barring min-max damage. It looked like it didn't do half. So I'm good to just stay in here and go for one more payback, and then after this one, since I'm faster, I could have just rested up. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way, as he does get a critical hit on me, and that did matter, as you saw the damage from the first one. Um, but you have some hacks. You got to play around it a little bit. Interestingly, he has a Shell Bell as a hell item, which of course Shell Bell heals your HP depending on the amount of damage that you do. Um, Here, I wasn't sure what he wanted to do. I knew I could outspeed and kill him off with a Shadow Ball or a Thunderbolt. I didn't want to go for Shadow Ball because I thought that might be too obvious, and I thought I could hit something else on his team with Thunderbolt. Unbeknownst to me, he's carrying Sceptile on this team, who switches into the Thunderbolt very easily. Shadow Ball would have been the better move right there. Of course, it has lower base power than Thunderbolt. I wasn't sure what he would go for. I didn't want him to get off scot-free and hit another Pokemon coming in. So I go ahead and sacrifice my Rotom. It's not the fastest thing I have on my team anyway, even though it does have leftovers. But now is a good time for me to bring in Ludicolo, as I figured he might be running Hidden Power Fire or Ice or something, and of course Focus Blast and a Grass Attack. He couldn't really hit me very hard. He makes a good play and goes back out into his Crustle, who still has Sturdy since I never did get up my entry hazards. I did figure that Crustle, while it does have good attack, I was hoping he was a bulky one. And I go for Giga Drain on the first attack just to make sure that I hit. I didn't want to miss Hydro Pump, because even if I hit it, it would still only bring him down to his 1 HP from Sturdy. And he does go for X Scissor, and there it shows that he is bulky because he didn't kill me off. And this is not a bulky Ludicolo at all. It has max special attack, max speed. So I kind of just stayed in and went for the Giga Drain, hoping to get enough back to live the Life Orb recoil. Even if he did swap out, I knew I would outspeed whatever he brought in because of the Swift Swim. Ludicolo functions very well in RU. There's not a lot that can stop the coverage that it has on its attacks. Here I do get to outspeed the Sceptile and kill it with an Ice Beam, which is great. That's the fastest thing I think he had on his team. He does have Hariyama, which can carry some priority, but of course my HP is so low at this point that I can't switch out without coming back in and getting killed by the Stealth Rock. So he made a good play there, going out into Hariyama. Using the Fake Out as priority, he also gets his Guts Orb activated and my Rain Stop. So just that quickly, the momentum kind of went back to his side of the field. Now, I didn't know what moves he had, but I see Fake Out. I know he has a fighting move, and I didn't know what his other two moves were. So I bring in Scintillant, the Scallopy here, knowing that I will resist his fighting stab, and he shows me that he has Bullet Punch, and I was actually hoping he was going to switch out right there. And since he went for Bullet Punch, I know I can take another one of those and get off a great amount of damage with the Life Orb Earthquake. I just wanted to put some damage on it, but unfortunately he gets another critical hit, and down goes my Scolipede. Which is really unfortunate because I would have loved to get that damage on it right there, because Hariyama can have a ton of HP, and it's being that bulky, it can be kind of difficult to deal with. Fortunately, the Toxic Orb is whittling him down a little bit, and that'll come into play a little bit later. Um, He goes for the close combat on Crustle. I think he did that in case I decided to swap out to Sharpedo, because he knew from the previous battle that I had a Sharpedo as well. But Crustle was kind of just death fodder to force him to take a little bit more Life Orb damage. And if he swapped out, I would have gotten up my Stealth Rocks, so that would have been nice. Here, I forced him out because even if he goes for Bullet Punch, it's not going to KO, and Waterfall will do a great amount of damage to Hariyama. Um, I am able to hit the oncoming Drapion, and I'm looking at his HP going, is that min-max damage and I just got max, or is this a clean 2-hit KO? And so I crossed my fingers, went for another Waterfall, hoping that it would KO it, and it does, which is great. Because if he had hit me, Sharpedo is so frail that most likely, no matter what he did, he would have knocked me out. So that was pretty clutch right there to get that 2-hit KO. Next up is his Slowking, and again, I don't know how much I can do. You see how much HP he recovered from the regenerator from where he was earlier, and I'm able to clean kill that as well, which is really interesting because guess what? Sharpedo is my last Pokemon going on here, so I'm really trying to push through here. He still has Hariyama left that has priority, and he still has Crustle left that has the the damage from the Giga Drain earlier on. So of course I'm going to kill it off. This entire time I'm taking Life Orb recoil, but you have to remember that Hariyama had over half of his HP left. So he can also come in and fake out me and then hit me with a Bullet Punch, no matter how fast I am. So it basically comes down to this moment right here, whether or not I can do enough damage alongside the Toxic Orb to take him out. I do protect just to make sure I dodge fake out, because there's no reason to take unnecessary damage, and by protecting he takes a little bit of toxic damage. I think that's, kind of notable right there. So here's the moment of truth. Do I live the Bullet Punch? And the answer is yes with 23 HP, and now I just have to kill him with Waterfall, otherwise he's just going to Bullet Punch me next turn. So I'm watching his HP, it's going down, and it stops, and I live my Life Orb recoil, but then he dies from poison. So I managed to come back somehow from that. So I really enjoyed that match, Michael. I literally won on 9 HP and 1-0. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please sub to my channel if you did, and I hope you all continue to enjoy the Pokemoshpit content. Have a great day, y'all.